Jump on in. It is Thursday. Jump on in, you guys. Good to see you. All right. So, my name is Kirsten Liebelt. It's really great to see you. As always, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, we go live right here and we kind of like link arms and we talk about insulin resistance and how to turn it back around, which is exactly what I did starting in my upper 40s and all of the great benefits of that, but also, too, like some of the stuff that you're dealing with and you think you're crazy or you think there's something wrong with you or you feel like you kind of tell me a lot in my comments like you are broken. And I want you to know you are not broken. You are not broken. This can be turned around, in my opinion. Of course, I am your friend, not a doctor, but nonetheless, so we're going to chat. Okay, my cat is being very vocal right now. So if you hear her in the background, that's just what's going on. Her name is Gracie. All right, so good to see all of you today. I want to speak directly about 5 random symptoms that almost no one talks about. And they all scream one thing, and that is, and she's a sneezer too. She's a sneezer. They all scream insulin resistance. And so this was prompted by a a question that was raised to me in my DMs here, and so you'll hear about that in just a second. I was raised by a type 2 dad. He was insulin dependent. He died at 63, and because I was 30 when he died, by right around the time that I was 37, and like I'm going to be honest, you guys, I was super lame. I hadn't even tried to care. I'm just being honest. Like I hadn't even tried to care. Like I was just, I was making everything from scratch for my kids. I was raising my kids, but I wasn't like, everything was white. I wasn't doing anything to prevent anything like type 2 diabetes because I had already been gestational with my first baby in my 20s, hypoglycemic with my second. I don't know. I was just kind of on the train of, oh, it's genetic. Oh, well. And then when I was right around 37, and I have mentioned this recently, I remember the actual clothes that I was wearing. I remember the weather of the day. I remember where I was standing in my yard. I had 20 acres that we were raising our babies on. And we homeschooled for like 20 years. I don't know if you know that or not about me, but we did. And I had this random thought of, like my Italian family, there's just a lot of obesity and type 2. And I thought, maybe this is literally just the way that this is going to be. Like, this is just who I am, obese and headed for type 2 diabetes, almost as though it was kind of an identity. And I know that sounds really weird. I don't know if that resonates with you at all. Good morning, Magda. Good to see you. But I think that sometimes, we just model after what we see, what we experience. And I remember at 37 having that thought process and literally having no clue how I would deal with it anyway. So, oh well, right? But there was something inside of me in that moment. And I'm so convinced that, it's almost like when we make decisions or we have intentions towards things, it's almost like God just brings us the answers as we go. I mean, talk about being gracious, because I was the most clueless person ever on the face of the planet. Like, doing, 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 doing. I just did not connect my dots well. So when I talk to you guys about insulin resistance, I want you to know a couple of things. Number one, it is completely turnaroundable. You really, really can. And number 2, here are just a couple of really good resources for you right off the bat. You can go and you can look up on YouTube, Dr. Ken Berry, Berry. He would be a good resource. Dr. Eric Berg, ERIC. Maria Emmerich, EMMERICH. She is really good for the ingredient trade outs, etc. Good morning, Patty, you sweet lady, you. If you needed a website for like to trade out sweet things, all day I dream about food. She's really, really good. But let's jump into our topic today. It is literally talking about 5 random symptoms of insulin resistance that pretty much nobody ever talks about. And right as I'm jumping into it, Cheryl, are you on here? Thank you, Cheryl. Hi. Hi, hi, hi. She sent me a heart right back at you. Thank you, Cheryl. And everybody on TikTok, if you could just double tap the screen, I'd so appreciate it. It kind of like alerts people that we are here. It gets more people to hear the information. It makes me happy. Sharon, good morning. Little house on the prairie. What do you mean? Me? Do I look like Caroline? I might look like Caroline today. I don't know. I've been out walking. What is that? After midnight? Okay, it was not after midnight. But anyway, today's the last day of the month. It is July 31st. So I do want to just make one little tiny note for you that are already customers of mine, okay? The customer campaign where you purchase 150, 150, 150, and you get 75 bucks off. Cha-ching. Today's the last day of the month to stay in that your 3-month campaign window. Or for those who are like me and you're like, wait a minute, I could do today and get in on July, and then I could do August and September, and I could be cashing in already in September. This is really, I love stuff like this. I really, really do, because it just speaks to how I function and how I purchase things. So if it does to you, that's great. I just want you to be aware that today is the last day of the month to get in on keeping your streak alive, or starting it if you need to. And by the end of this, I'll give you like a clear direction and understanding of how you can change from the inside out what's happening with your body. But let's jump into the 5 weird, I think they're weird, clues that your body is begging for help with insulin resistance, okay? So if you've ever thought this can't possibly be connected to my blood sugar, I want to show you how insulin resistance hides in plain sight. I remember like typing, like doing research a handful of years ago, like maybe 5 years ago, about symptoms of insulin resistance, and the Googles, which like not smart, gave me some article. I guess it wasn't Google's fault, but the article was, there are no symptoms. I'm like, baloney, schmaloney. That is not true at all. But I want to show you how insulin resistance hides in plain sight and causes the weirdest, sometimes the most frustrating health issues that women over 40 are constantly told to just live with. And if that's you, or if you have a friend or a daughter-in-law, share out this information. Share it, because you never know who is facing what, or something that will come upon them and they're like, what in the world is going on? So today I want to share the 5 random body symptoms that almost no one talks about, and it's all about insulin resistance. Okay, just want to make sure I wasn't missing something there. So I want to, again, my name is Kirsten Liebelt. I help women get unstuck. I help them get unstuck with their weight, with their insulin resistance. And when you get on a path that actually produces, you're like, hee-haw, because it may be producing in you getting off of meds between you and your doctor. It might produce in you losing LBSs. It might be you in losing inches. It might be producing in mental clarity, energy, better sleep, like all the things, because they're all connected to insulin resistance. So no matter how hard you try, if something's not working, that's what I do. I help you get unstuck. So number 1, this is the first one that I want to talk about. And this is one that I had. And of course I had no clue. I'm like, what? Like I didn't even know until years later. Number 1, frozen shoulder. Did you guys know that this is connected to insulin resistance? I'm going to tell you guys why things are connected. So you don't just have an answer. I want you to know why. So high insulin. Remember, you're raising your sugars. You need insulin to be released from your pancreas to go get the sugar to put it into your cell so that you have energy. That's the process of your body, right? But when you have too much insulin because your cell is resistant, and so your cell kind of closes the door and insulin is the key and it can't open it up anymore, your pancreas goes, well, I should probably create more insulin. Like we just needed more. That's what was going on. So it creates more. You have high insulin. It eventually can turn into type 1. I just want you to know that. Over time, it just turns into like where now that's why then you need insulin to help. Okay. That's another conversation. I'm not going to go there. High insulin drives inflammation and slow healing. Okay. Especially in joints and connective tissue. It can cause thickening and tightening in the shoulder capsule. You guys, this is crazy pants. I'll tell you how I ended up with mine. Leading to stiffness, pain, and severely limited range of motion. So like you can't zip your dress or reach into the back seat, right? Because you can't maybe move, right? Physical therapy isn't helping much. You're told it's age. But it's inflammation from insulin resistance is often the root cause, just common. Fix the insulin and the shoulder often follows. And what kind of triggered this thought process to bring to you today is I saw a reel of, I don't know if she was a doctor, a nutritionist. I got to be honest, I was just frustrated and I kept scrolling because she was like, yeah, we can have frozen shoulder and it can just show up out of nowhere and it can last for a couple of years. It was like a podcast and the interviewer was like, really? And she's like, yeah. And then it can just go away and blah, blah, blah. That's your answer? Are you joking right now? Are you teasing me? Like, are you messing with me? Because listen, what if it is inflammation because of high insulin? That was totally me. That was totally me. And I had no idea until literally after I fixed it a couple of years later. I didn't know. So what happened was, remember, gestational diabetic when I was 22. My dad dies when I'm 30. I do nothing about it because I'm super like whatever. Que sera, sera. And then in my upper 40s, I finally start to work on, I wake up and I'm like, I should probably do something. But that was super really quickly after I woke up and decided to do something. I had a shoulder surgery because I was in a car accident a few years earlier. And it finally showed up that I had a rotator cuff tear. Like 5 years after the accident. Just don't ask. So I go in to have surgery and immediately it freezes. Okay, now they don't know that. So I start to do physical therapy and I'm in like so much pain. And eventually they check it and he's like, yep, it froze. We're going to go ahead and go back in and fix it. That's how I do it. He says to me, I said, okay, fine. And then they did, and I'm fine. So I go down the road and I'm doing all of this research that I now bring to you guys, that I bring to you on insulin resistance. And I'm like, are you serious right now, Clark? Like frozen shoulder is connected to insulin resistance. And that like went off like a light bulb in me. I'm like, well, of course there's a connection. So I just want you to know frozen shoulder. And so I've worked really hard for my range of motion because obviously you want to be able to put your bra on and take it off. You want to be able to reach into the back seat. You want to be able to do everything. And the shoulder is a big piece of that. So high insulin levels lead to inflammation. That one was a kicker for me. Number 2, this is very, very interesting. This is somebody had reached out to me and I'll be in a conversation with this person. Tell me if you've ever had frozen shoulder. And now tell me if you've ever had this one. Meniere's. Has anybody had Meniere's? Vertigo, inner ear imbalance. This is super common, you guys. Like I worked at a chiropractor's office, so it was very common for people to come in and then the doctor would do like what's called the Epley maneuver because maybe you get crystals in your ear or whatever. You're on, and you haven't lost anything, Vera. I know, I'm really sorry. I actually hear from a lot of people who are on things. Your mom has both, Cheryl. Super interesting. Yep. There are a lot of people that reach out to me and they're on this and they say that they've either completely stalled out or they have, it's not doing what they need it to do. So just to kind of give you like, just in case you have to scroll and you got to run, what I teach is I teach food ingredient trade outs and I teach targeted supplementation. And so like, for instance, in the trio, I'm going to give you 2 sentences. In the trio, which are 3 supplements that have 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity, that's the foundation of what I talk about. There is one product in there that is kind of like a little natural O. Okay. And the results on it are so good. It's a very, very popular product. And in fact, right now people have to, it's out of stock until a couple of weeks now. And I keep it inventoried in my home. So if somebody needs to jump on the trio to get started, let me know because I have this in my inventory. I don't have much though, not going to lie. So I'm saying that very like pensively because I only have a little bit. But anyway, but my point being that in that direction of helping your body to go from insulin resistant to insulin sensitive, then I also have a protein blueprint that can help with a protein formula. And I have a Facebook group called Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women, and we do a 5-day challenge every month. So I have a track to run on that is very transformative. And I love it. I love your testimonies that you send me. Okay, so back to the Meniere's inner ear vertigo. The inner ear needs steady blood flow and fluid regulation. Okay. Insulin resistance damages small blood vessels and increases inflammation, disrupting your balance, your hearing, and your equilibrium. You guys, like, I am so tired of not knowing these things. Are we not exhausted? You and I, are we just not tired of never hearing some of these pieces? It doesn't mean that everything is black and white and tried and true. And, that's exactly then what you have. It doesn't mean that, but it's something to consider that we haven't considered. So maybe you feel off balance when you're in a store, or maybe the room feels like it shifts. Doctors give vague answers, but metabolic chaos from insulin resistance can mess with the inner ear and the vestibular nerve. Okay, now, I know that every once in a very, very blue moon, like with years in between, I'll sleep wrong. And like my C1, is it my C1? I don't know my stuff, but I go to the chiropractor every 2 weeks. My C1 or whatever will be out of place, and that'll make me dizzy. And then I go to the chiropractor, they fix me, and that dizziness goes away. So that's kind of normal, right? But I'm talking about, this is a consistent thing that's going on. Okay. That's just crazy. So it has to do with the lack of steady blood flow and fluid regulation, because insulin resistance damages small blood vessels and increases inflammation, disrupting your balance, your hearing, and your equilibrium. What is going on? That is crazy to me. Number 3 out of the 5. Patty says vertigo. Interesting, Patty. It'll be really fun to see then as you go on your journey. I want you to tell me if that gets better for you. I want to know as you go from insulin resistant to insulin sensitive, because I think you are doing the total body reset, Patty. Am I right? You're doing all of it. I want to know, like, when your vertigo gets better, even if it starts to slowly get better, I want to know about it. Okay. Deborah says, my sister had Meniere's disease. I had vertigo and I'm currently having ear pain and clogged ear. I asked my doctor because I thought maybe it's a sinus infection, which I probably would have thought that too, affecting your ears, but it's still not helping. I've been on 3 days. You also have RA. Mm-hmm. You meant for antibiotic. Yep. But for typos, you use voice text. No, you're fine, Deb. Yes, you're on everything, Patty. Okay, let's stay in touch about that. I would like to know if your vertigo gets better or when it does. I'm going to assume it will. Super interesting, Deb. So that's just something for you to consider. You're on content that's talking about insulin resistance. So you obviously know, or you think that you are insulin resistant. And so it's something to consider. Golly, I love solving puzzles for people. If that is a puzzle solve. And of course we don't know that yet, right? Number 3, sleep apnea, snoring, and middle of the night wake ups. Okay. I talk about sleep a lot. I think it was yesterday. We talked about sleep. You got to fix your sleep. But this is the deal. This is why, okay, insulin resistance increases fluid retention and inflammation, especially in the neck and the airway. This can physically narrow breathing passages, and it also triggers cortisol and blood sugar crashes during the night. Like, who knew that there was this connection? Did you know that this was a connection? Do you sleep with somebody who has sleep apnea? We think it's normal. Well, who doesn't have a CPAP machine? Do you see how we normalize this crap? I'm sorry, but it's ridiculous that we get that. What? You're a doctor, you're handing out CPAP machines like candy on Halloween, and you don't bother to think. And I'm not saying that they don't, they do, but I'm just saying, like, let's say it's a doctor that's just not really thinking. It doesn't cross your mind that you should find out why people have sleep apnea, because you can be skinny and have sleep apnea, and you can also be skinny and be insulin resistant. So it's not always just about weight. I know that that's the connection. That's the common connection, but I'm just saying. So it physically narrows your breathing passages. It triggers cortisol and blood sugar crashes during the night, keeping you in fight or flight when you should be resting. Fight or flight. So you wake up at 3 a.m., maybe your heart is racing. I don't want to tap my microphone. Maybe your heart is racing. You're soaked in sweat, or your husband or your wife says, your snoring is getting worse. OMG. This isn't just weight, it's your body trapped in a blood sugar loop. Like, are you kidding me? I'm just like, I would love to know if anybody has ever made that connection, or you have a spouse that is like, it has a CPAP machine, maybe you do or whatever, and it's never dawned on you that this has to do with insulin resistant, increases fluid retention and inflammation. It's one of the reasons why I talk about our turmeric all the time. So the turmeric that I take, it's 45 times more absorbable than other turmerics because turmeric's not very absorbable. But taking, and actually last night we did our Christmas in July product presentation and showcase. And I talked about the turmeric because I take it at night before I go to bed because I want it to help my liver and I want inflammation to come down while I'm sleeping. That's just that was free information for you. If you're taking the turmeric, take it at night before you go to bed, 2 of them. Man, it's a beautiful, beautiful combo with the ashwagandha and magnesium. Okay. So that is very, very interesting. That is sleep apnea, snoring, or middle of the night wake ups. Number 4. Hold on. Deb says, I love your information you give us. I have an appointment soon. Yes, you can rewatch the video, Deb. You go right ahead. Have a really, really good day. See you later. You can watch the replay. And I will tell everybody, like, if you want to be able to watch the replays, they won't be on TikTok, right? Because that doesn't happen. So you can go to my YT channel, YT, right? On Facebook, they go away in 30 days. Whether you're on my business Facebook or my personal, sorry, they get deleted. So again, subscribe to the YT. You know what I mean? Okay, go to that place. You're fine, Deb. No. I didn't even notice. See how much I didn't even notice? She says, I misspelled your name. You're fine. Skin tags and discoloration, number 4. And we've talked about this before, but I want you to understand why. Why? Elevated insulin triggers skin cell overgrowth. Okay. Changes in pigmentation, especially in folds like the neck, the underarms, or in your groin. It's one of the earliest outward signs of metabolic dysfunction. Did you know that? So you see a dark ring on your neck or tiny tags under your arms. You scrub harder in the shower, but it's not dirt. This is your skin showing you what your labs haven't said yet. And I would rather say it this way: what the labs they didn't take yet would show if they would freaking pull a fasting insulin test for you, which is a hormonal test, right? Insulin is a hormone, but they don't do that. I wonder what my insulin level would have been when I was 22 and gestational diabetic, or in between my first baby and my second baby, which was 3 years. And then I was hypoglycemic with my second baby. What would they have showed me? What would had they ever pulled a fasting insulin test? Here we are, 35 years later, 35 years later, and you are still telling me they don't pull a fasting insulin test. I asked for one. They said no. 35 years later, we're still not doing it. What are we doing? This is why you and we have to stick together. That's why we have to stick together. So that is skin tags and discoloration. And the last one, number 5, brain fog and early memory issues. Why? This one's close to my heart. You know this one. Maybe if you follow my content, you know why this is close to my heart. Insulin is critical for brain function. When your brain cells become resistant to insulin, memory, mood, and cognition suffer. It's why some experts call Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes. You can't find your words. Maybe you're forgetting names and it scares you. You're like, what's going on? And maybe you don't even want to say anything to anybody. Okay. You chalk it up to menopause or stress. But insulin resistance is often the silent culprit affecting your mental clarity. Okay. So again, you might think that this has to do with menopause. You might think, that's what I thought, 100%. I was in my mid 40s and my brain fog was out of control, and my ability to multitask left the building. And I'm like, what's going on? And of course, the first thing that I thought was, is this what menopause looks like? Is this what perimenopause looks like? Even though I probably didn't even know there was a perimenopause term. But I'm like, is this like what this looks like to go into menopause? I had no idea. It was my insulin resistance, you guys. Isn't that crazy? And now it all connects, it all wraps together. Because then, and I'm not going to go down this road, but then when I started the adaptogenic herbs that I started, I still do talk about them and I still take them. But when I did that and they helped with my brain fog, and then over time they helped with my hormones, insulin is a hormone. I just honestly, everything that I got led to do was all connected. How grateful am I? This is why I just share it with you as much as I can. Whether you like it or not, I show up. That's kind of how that goes. So when you understand these clues, you realize that your body isn't broken. You are not broken. Your body, it's brilliant. It was made. It was fearfully and wonderfully made. Your body is brilliant. It's just overwhelmed. It's just overwhelmed. You're not broken, and you're not a lame loser that can't lose weight. Nobody has just told you yet. You just haven't heard yet that this is a hormonal conversation. This is a cellular conversation. This is a liver and a gut conversation. You just haven't been told yet. So when you get on a proper path that can help you perform, what is that called when you have 3 letters in one sentence? Somebody tell me in the comments, what is that called? That's really funny. When you have a proper path that can help you perform proficiently. I crack myself up. I come on here for me. I don't know what's going on with you today. Welcome to my world. But seriously, for real, like instead of just grasping at straws for a program over here and a something over here and a quick fix over here and a Band-Aid over there, why don't you just pause long enough and say, listen, I am worthy of the journey. I am worthy of the journey. And I give myself permission for the mission of myself moving forward and going from insulin resistant to insulin sensitive. I'm worth the time that it will take for me to trade out an ingredient and find a new recipe and go to the store and buy other things for my pantry that maybe are different. And you know what? I actually might make a recipe and have to throw it out. I am worth that effort, because the opposite result is I'm not here for my grandbabies. My dad left the picture at 63. My kids were 6, 3, and 6 months old. Completely missed out on Italian, quirky, eccentric Italian grandpa. What a tragedy. And he had never been diagnosed with anything terminal. I just think it's a tragedy. So allow yourself that moment to say, I am worth it. I am worthy. I'm not going to listen to the naysayers, and I will give you a path for performance. And it really is not, it's a very simplistic conversation. What's hard is your head, your predetermined actions that you have to change, and your heart. And what I mean by that is your connections to food, because that wasn't me. That might not be you. I don't know. But for me, and Patty says I'm funny. Yes, well, Patty. Gotta laugh. If you have food connections, listen, I'm Italian. So I very, very, very much was connected to food. You celebrate with food, you mourn with food. This is what you do. Okay. So that was my whole life. Deb says, wish I didn't have this appointment. What would I do when I come back to watch this later? Just go to Facebook and search for it, your name. Yes, you can do that, Deb. If you have a hard time finding it there, go on. Don't listen to TikTok now because you guys will like shadow me. Go on YouTube and find my name. And you can subscribe over there. And then these lives go up every day and then they just live there. They just stay there. On Facebook, it'll get deleted. On Insta, it'll be on Insta too. You could go there too, Instagram. So just to let you know, Deb, okay? So that's just a good way to tell people where to find stuff. Anyway, so what I want to wrap up with then is just basically, so what can you do? What are your options? Well, I have a Facebook group. Let's start with everything that is like a part of the path. I have a Facebook group. It's called Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. And every month we do a 5-day challenge. The reason why I do that is so that you can learn a little bit about insulin resistance, learn a little bit about how I, as an Italian girl, traded out my food ingredients. I'll take you into my pantry, my refrigerator. We'll talk about targeted supplementation. We'll do a recipe, and we do it every single month. This is like our 27th one in a row happening in August. I have to get that posted for the dates. The second thing is that I do have a Banish, bloat, burn fat, protein blueprint. And the reason why is because, listen, if you can actually decipher through the noise of all the blah, blah, blah about food when it comes to, it's all about balance and count your points and, you know, you shouldn't eliminate food groups and blah, 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 blah. You can actually learn how to eat protein and a lot of it that doesn't spike your sugars and call on insulin so that you can be strong, blood sugar stable, have energy, feel full, feel satiated, and actually begin to burn fat because you keep your body then in fat burning mode. So I have that for you available. It's free. The last thing would be, and it's not necessarily in that order, because some of you, when you text me your testimonies, some of you started with the food piece and then you added in the supplementation. Some of you started with the supplements and then you added in the food. I did supplements first. It's just my journey. I was too much of a chicken to trade out my food when I was in my early 50s. Okay. And I just turned 60, whatever, last January. So when it comes to supplementation, like I said, I talk about the trio all the time. These are the 3 supplements that have the 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity. This is exactly, I can see that I don't have my liver here. Where's my liver? I don't have it. Okay, I'm going to use something else. I'm going to put something else in its place just so that I can show you. This is how I lost my 3 sizes in my 50s. I started with the trio. It's all I had available to me, but it helped me to bring down my insulin and my sugars and to get my liver up and functioning again. Did you know that if your insulin is high or your liver is sluggish, you're not burning fat? Your fat burning switch is turned off. So this is where 3 supplements that have 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity. Okay. So when you go on my site, my name is Kirsten Liebelt. It's kirstenliebelt.com. Okay. It's actually on the screen for YouTube and Facebook. So when you go there and you see the trio, look that up. This one you're going to see right now, and I'm sorry, but it's very popular and there's an ingredient thing that has been going on for a while. So when we do get it in stock, you just jump, okay? When I send you a text and tell you to grab it, grab it. This is out of stock for just a little bit longer, okay? But I do have it inventoried in my home. But don't let that leave you from, this is where I started. This is my basics right here, okay? The trio. Then, now Patty said she's doing everything, right? So she's doing the total body reset. Then we add in the gut primer. Put these down. The gut primer. I just want you to understand. So this is a greens powder. It's a green powder, but it's not a greens drink. Okay. That's a separate conversation. This is actually 6 different products, blends in one. So I want you to understand that insulin resistance creates leaky gut. And if you are leaking your nutrition, you're swimming upstream, you're treading water, you're dog paddling, and you're not going anywhere. And it's very frustrating. The symptoms of that is maybe you started with, you had your gallbladder removed. And so your digestion is way, way off. Maybe you're constipated all the time. You cannot live as a constipated person. It's so unhealthy. It's so unhealthy. You need to be having a bowel movement every single day. I know it's like crazy. We talk about poop, but I'm just telling you, it's amazing to me how common, because again, we've just been marketed to, you're constipated, no problem. So am I. Just go to the store and get this little product and take this little script. And instead of anybody ever talking about the root causes of this. Like, this is ridiculous that this is the world that we live in. So I just want you to know, the way that I take it is I take one scoop here. I'll show it to you here because this is my green jar that I travel with. And I'm traveling again next week. So I've got it ready to go. I take one scoop, I put it in a small amount of water, like right out to about here. And I froth it up with my frother. Okay, my little frother. And then I drink it like a wellness shot, like you would buy a wellness shot in a coffee shop. And I just down it. Now, it tastes like tea. Kind of smells turmeric-y, gingery, tea-like. I am not a tea person. I've said it before. I wish that it tasted like a cookie dough blizzard from Dairy Queen. I really actually do. That would be I would go to Dairy Queen right now and buy that. But I don't, but I would. I'm just telling you, like, so it tastes like tea, whatever. You can add like flavored liquid stevia if you want to change it. You can put it in a shake if you want to. You can do different things. But it has what you need. It has the raw materials that your body needs to function. I have somebody with constipation who would not evacuate for a hurricane without it. I have somebody with short gut syndrome who's running to the bathroom all day long, if you know what I mean. Number two, and you know what I mean. Years, because she has short gut syndrome. Years. How does that change your life? When all of a sudden there's something that can actually help. It's literally a gastrointestinal primer. So it is supporting the healing and the sealing of your gut. All right. And then she added in with that. So this is the gut primer. She added in with that the probiotic. Okay. Repopulate your microbiome. 5 live strains. Okay. And then the very last thing that she's on, sweet Patty, sweet lady, is the fat burner. And this was created for the sports nutrition line, but it targets visceral fat. If you don't know anything about visceral fat, what you do need to know is you don't want it. But guess what's creating it? Yep. Insulin resistance. Deb, I know you're already off, but yay. She said she's on Instagram. So I'll see you over there. This was such a very, I'll wrap up with this. This was a very big surprise for me. When they launched this, I started taking it and I didn't tell anybody about it for a couple of months. If you've been on my journey with me for the last year, you know that that is true. I said nothing to anybody because number one, it tastes like candy. It tastes like orange pixie stick, like you're a little kid. And I thought, oh boy, I bet I can't recommend this to anybody. It could spike sugars, blah, blah, blah. So I sent it off to a dear friend of mine. She's on here. And I said, please, will you test this for me with your sugars? And she did. She said, I would totally do this. Well, she went on to then, like in 90 days, I may get this wrong. So I apologize. I have many testimonies like hers. So I get my numbers mixed up. And that's just my true story. I should have them written in front of me. In 90 days, she lost 3.5 inches right under her bust, a couple of inches off of her waist. I think she's the one that lost 1 inch off of her hips because it's targeting that visceral fat that's in your trunk from the top of your, like from your hip to right underneath your bust. That's your trunk. That's where the visceral fat goes. It gets around your organs and inside your liver. Okay. So I've had people send me visceral fat scans showing the decrease in the visceral fat. So we have a couple of ways that we're tracking this: inches with this and visceral fat scans. And I'm just telling you, so doing all 3 of those pillars, all 3 of those parts, that is how Terry, my friend Terry, sent me an update on her progress from last year. She gave herself permission, took a full year to do her journey. And in 1 year, she's lost 49 pounds. She's 62 years old. She said, I weigh less than I did 30 years ago, like for the last 30 years. So she's lost 3 decades of weight, if that makes sense. And, you know, we get to the point where we think we're too old, we're too broken, we're too whatever, and all of the information that's being given to us isn't working. And you're right, it's not. But it's only because it's not through the lens of insulin resistance. It's not through the lens of metabolic dysfunction. It's through the lens of It might be through the lens of either like a program that's being marketed to you about counting points or eating processed food that you get to just open the box or the bar or the package, which I highly, highly would disagree with as that being smart. Or maybe it's a different age range. So it might be somebody in their early 30s that's trying to tell you how to eat and their body is not metabolically defunct yet, right? Like that's possible. Or maybe somebody is a bodybuilder and they are giving different, maybe it's a bodybuilder male, like a bodybuilder biological male, right? That's giving advice on how to eat, on how to do things. And it may or may not be for your body. And I feel like that's the frustration of the noise that you're feeling inside of yourself. You're like, why is this constantly this way? And it's because we don't shut down all the noise. We keep watching 6 different people give us 6 different answers, and we don't stick with one path that can help you perform. I hope that makes sense, because that's the joy of my heart, is when a Patty comes along and she says, I embrace this thought process. And then now you have access to me to ask me those questions and to say, whatever it is. People have all different kinds of questions about what to eat or what to buy or whatever. And you get in the group and you start taking part in the challenges that happen every single month. All of a sudden you feel like, oh, I have somebody to lock arms with, to walk this journey. And I'll tell you, the best testimonies are sometimes the non-scale victories that you send me. It is the tucking in of the shirt or getting down on the floor or traveling without swollen ankles, or you send me all sorts of really great testimonies, because those are the lifestyle things that we actually wanted in our hearts. I just wanted to feel normal. Whatever that meant to me in my head, in my brain, from my upbringing and the messages that were given to me. So that's personal to me. Not everybody has that inside of them. That was just me in my head because of the way that I was raised. I won't go into that right now. Okay. So always, 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 you can reach out to me and drop the word unstuck in my DMs, or you can always drop the word unstuck if you're on Facebook or on YouTube. You didn't hear that TikTok. Or if you're on the replay on Instagram, you can say unstuck and I can see it. But after I'm done with this live, if you do it right now, it'll go away. That's my point. So, all right, you guys are amazing. Have the best day ever on the face of the planet. I will see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. And I can't wait. I'm always excited to see you guys. When I miss you when I'm not here. And next week I am gone Thursday, Friday, and then the following Monday, Tuesday. Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, starting next week. So we'll chat about that. Don't you worry. See you later. Have such a great day.